Mike within the shadow of Big Red Eye here. Welcome to the Uwharrie National Forest. We are in the Baden Lake campground here, and we're having some fun with our neighbors. Apparently, they saw my vehicle driving around before, so they decided to do a couple whoops as they were coming in. So, might as well have some fun while we're out here. But anyways, all seriousness or all jokingness aside, we're here for a serious reason. We're here for some library presentations, but we also got two witnesses coming at you that have been from the Uwharrie National Forest here. So we'll bring you them tomorrow. I'm not doing anything tonight. I just drove 10 hours, and I'm just gonna relax by the fire tonight. So other than that, if anything else happens, I'll report it. But then we'll see you at the witness tomorrow.
This right here was back in between early 2010 and mid 2010. It was me and my son and Kenneth and a guy named David. And we were sitting right here. And it was around 10:30 at night. Had the fire going. And nothing's changed. This spot looks just like it did then. Nothing's changed. And about 10:30, back over in that direction, which would be campsite number 5. It's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
We hear just one heavy wood knock.
And I'm assuming you guys were the only ones here?
Yeah, there was nobody else there.
Okay.
Nobody.
Right.
And nobody else was here. Nobody else came in the entire night. So we heard that, and we just kind of played off because that's normal out here. You hear wood knocks all the time. So the only thing that's different is that picnic bench right there was kind of one of the old wooden ones, and it was sitting basically like right here at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a new one. So Ken is right over here with David, and me and my son are standing right here. And Ken had this night vision. At that time, I had night vision too. I didn't have the flare thermal like I do now. So, and I told Ken, I said, I'm gonna walk back to my truck, and my truck was sitting down there, right down there in number 10.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I can walk you down and show you where that. My truck was sitting down here. My truck was sitting right there in number 10, which that picnic bench is at.
Okay.
And when I got right about between them two trees right there, it was almost just like I hit a wall. I mean, literally, it's like something just said stop.
Yep.
So as I was standing there, I knew I could feel there was something out here. I could just feel it. So Ken hollered down here to me because I'd been standing here for about a minute and it was pitch black. And a lot of people don't understand when I say you can't see your hand in front of your face down here some nights. I mean, you can't even see the tree. It's pitch black. I couldn't even see you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm standing here, and I kept trying to ease my way down. And like I said, my truck was parked right there. And I kept easing down. I was like, wait a minute. I said, something just don't feel right about this. I said, there's something out here. Truthfully, I wouldn't even think about a Bigfoot. I was thinking cougar or bear because that's exactly what it felt like.
Right.
So,
Do you have cougar and bear out here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually saw a black bear a while back, but yeah, cougars are down here. So, sorry about that. They're cutting the grass.
Yeah, no.
And so Ken hauled down. He said, "Man," he said, "what's taking so long?" I said, "Just hold on, dude." I said, "There's something down here." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "There's something out here, man." So I walked over to my truck, opened my door, got the night vision out, and I was putting batteries in it, and I kept looking around the whole time. I was like, God, I couldn't shake that feeling. I mean, it literally was like something on you.
Mm.
So I turned around, and we walked back up here. And I was walking up here, I kept looking back, didn't see nothing. And then when I got up here, and we got back up here, Ken was like, he said, "What took you so long?" And I said, "Dude," I said, there's something down there." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Man, there's something down there."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Did you see anything?" And I said, "No." I said, "I didn't have to see it, man." I said, I can feel it." I said, "There's something down there."
Yeah.
So he gets his night vision, and he's standing here looking. He doesn't see anything. And I'm standing here looking, don't see anything. And like I said, that picnic bench was sitting basically right here, where this right here is. So probably, I don't know, maybe close to an hour go by, and we're standing at the fire, and my son is standing here, exactly right here, with the parabolic dish. And he's 27 now, so that's been a while back. He's standing here with a parabolic dish. And he's standing like this right here. Never fails. And all of a sudden he goes, like that. And I saw him, and he didn't say anything. He was doing like that, and he goes, like that. And I looked at him, I looked at Ken, I said, he hears something. And Joe didn't say anything, his name's Joe. And he's standing there like that again. He went, oh, do like that. And I said, what? He goes, come here. So I walked over here. He said, listen. So I put the thing in my ear, and he's standing there listening. I didn't hear anything at first. All I could hear was the sound of crickets. And I said, what? He goes, just listen. He said, there's something breathing down there. I said, what? He said, dude, I can hear breathing.
Mm.
So I'm standing there listening. Still don't hear anything. So a few minutes back, and I said, okay. So I get back to him. I didn't hear anything. So I walk back over there, and about probably 15 minutes later, he's standing right here, and he said, come here. So I come back over here, put it back in my ear, and just as soon as I put it back in my ear, straight ahead, right down through there, I hear, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And dude, he went, you hear that? And I said, yeah. And it was almost like, it almost sounded like somebody had asthma is what it sounded like. Because it's like they're trying to get, they're like trying to get breath. They're like,
wow.
That's all I could hear.
Yeah.
First thing went through my head again, bear. And I thought, oh my God, there is a bear down there. That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
But then it just quit. And I looked at Ken, I said, Ken, come here. I said, dude, there is something down there. So he comes over, he takes the parabolic dish from my son, puts the earplugs in. He walks over this direction, he gets right back here, and he's listening. He'll go back over here, and he goes back over here. He's standing, all of a sudden, he's like, oh my God. I said, what? He goes, dude, something just, he said, there was a little grunt down there. I said, Dennis, there's something down there. So David walks over, and David doesn't really believe. And I've only met David twice, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So David comes over here, and he's listening. He's like, oh my God. He said, what is that? And I said, I don't know. I said, but I told y'all. I said, there's something down there. And I was still thinking bear is what I was thinking. So Ken says, hold on. So he goes over there, and he gets his night vision. He walks over, and like I said, the picnic bench was right there. So he walks over, and he sits down on the picnic bench, and he's sitting there looking. And I walk back over here at the fire with David and Joe. And the whole time, Joe's still standing there with a parabolic dish listening. And Ken's like, do you hear anything? And Joe's like, yeah. He said, I can still hear it breathing, man. He said, it's still down there. Excuse me. So Ken's still sitting there. And all of a sudden, this probably maybe 30, 35 minutes went by. Excuse me. And all of a sudden, Ken goes, oh my God. I said, what? He goes, dude, he said, come here. I said, what? He said, come here. So I walk over here, and he goes, get your night vision. I said, all right. So I got my night vision, and he said, right down there, he said, where that big tree is, and I'll show you where it's at. And this was the second time that I've ever actually had a sighting. The first time when I was 10 years old with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I ever had a sighting.
Oh wow.
This was the first time that I'd ever had a sighting of a female. And I'll tell you why in a minute, why we knew it was a female. But right down here, this tree right here, that big tree right there.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, this was during the summer. So all this was covered up in foliage. I mean, you had this big tree and nothing but big green bushes. And right there is where we were. Ken said, look. So I got to looking with the night vision. And like I said, we were up there and we were looking right here at this tree, but like I said, all this was covered in green. So you couldn't see between it.
Right.
But you could see the tree. I looked down here, I didn't see anything. Okay. So I kept standing there looking, and if most people know how night vision works, like flare, you go from eye to eye, you can't see nothing. You're blind in one eye for a few minutes. So I switched night to eye, and I told him, I said, Ken, I said, I don't see anything. He's like, dude, he said, I just saw something. Look out behind that tree. He said, I saw the eye. I said, really? He said, yes, sir. So I said, all right, so if you let me see it, let me know. So I go back over there where the fire's at, and I'm standing there. And I've been standing there maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And he's like, Lee, get back over here. He said, here it is again. I said, all right. So
You're very active that night.
Oh,
you were all over.
Yeah, I was like back and forth, like a ball bouncer. So, but it was a good night. I mean, it really was a good night. And so I walked back over there, and I grabbed my night vision. And I'll be honest with you, when he told me to come back over there, I thought, well, I'm gonna look up again. I ain't gonna see nothing. I was wrong. So when I walked back over there, and he's sitting down at the bench, and I got right above his shoulder. He said, get right here behind me and look straight down at that tree right there. That's all right. So I looked at the night vision. And just as soon as I picked that night vision up, that tree right there, her head, I can't reach it, was way up there.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yes. She was a big girl. She's a big girl. She's thick. I felt like that. She's thick. And what I saw was there was a head leaned out. You could see like the head and this shoulder. It was leaned out behind a tree like that. And just as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God. Ken said, dude, I told you. He said, that thing is standing there looking right dead at us. And you could see the eyeball. That was one thing that I noticed right off the bat. Because through my night vision, it was kind of a greenish gray look. So her eye was showing up green. And her eye was as big around as that lens right there on your camera. That's God's honest truth at that distance.
Wow.
She was there. And then I stood there and looked at her for maybe 20 or 30 seconds. And she went back behind the tree, and then she went to the other side. She leaned up on the other side. Then she came back to this side, and she was going from one side to the other, leaning out. But every time she leaned out, you see just a little bit more of her. Okay. So then we sat there and looked at her for probably a good 25 minutes, if not longer. Oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And all she would do is she would lean out. She'd go behind a tree for maybe a minute or two. She'd come out the other side. Then she'd come out, and she'd wait a few minutes. She'd come out the other side. But that's all she would do. And every time she'd come out, you could see that big cone-shaped head, a shoulder, and you could see that eyeball. Then what she did was, and me and Kim both saw this. Now I wish he was here, he'd tell you himself. She leaned out, but when she leaned out, like I said, I mean, you imagine her head's way up here.
Yeah.
So when she leaned out, this time instead of like leaning out like this, she came out and she turned like this right here. She turned real slow. And that's when we could see it was a female, because you could see the breast.
Right.
It turned like this right here. She turned, she done like this, and she stopped. And she kind of turned back like that, never like looking at us, but because you never saw the eye. But she kind of turned like that, like she was looking at the ground, and she turned, and we watched her walk from right there. She went straight through here. We saw her go right through here. She went right between this tree, that tree, and when she hit that tree, she cut back and she went down that way.
Wow.
And we saw her clear as a bell, man. Clear as a bell. And what was weird about that was, I've always told people, where there's one, there's two, where there's two, there's three, and that is a fact. They never are alone. So just as soon as we saw her walk off, no sooner, I'm talking no sooner she got out of view, right back down to number 5, 2 hits on a wood knock.
Oh wow.
It was like they were letting them know she was leaving the area.
Yeah.
And that is so weird, but that's the God's honest truth, man.
Wow.
So, and that happened right there. That was back, like I said, between the 1st of 2010, between January and February of April. No, it probably had to be January, because it was still cold, but I mean, there was, like I said, no, actually that was 2010, because there was foliage on the trees. So that had to be probably between April and June.
Yeah.
Yeah, about mid, because like I said, there was foliage on trees. It didn't look like it was right now.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And dude, this is no lie. The tent was here, right here. This thing, and I mean, we're right there.
Yeah.
This thing was standing right here next to the tent. And the one thing that I've told people, and I'll say it again, the one thing that I will never forget is the way that it looked and the way that it moved. If you look at the old, the Legend of Boggy Creek poster, where he's kind of like down like this,
Yeah.
position.
Yep.
That's the way this thing was standing. I don't know if this, because he had his back to us, so it had to be this shoulder right here. I don't know if the shoulder had been broke or it was dislocated, but his shoulder was cocked way up in the air like that, and he was standing just like this.
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was creepy. Shaggy looking matted hair on him. Because when he would turn, you could see the hair move, but it was kind of matted, looking like a wet dog. So like I said, when he turned, he never looked at us. Not one time he never turned his head and looked at us. He kind of turned like that, and then he went around the tent, just like this right here. He went around it several times, and when he would go around, he'd go, "Ruff!" And he was hitting the tent. No lie. He was hitting that tent, and he hit it like he hit it once on each side. But like I said, when he would go around, he wouldn't raise his head. He had his head down like this right here the whole time looking down.
Wow.
And he'd go around, and he would hit that tent. And then when he got to the backside, he stopped, and he kind of turned. And when he turned, he was standing there, and he was doing like this, one side to the other. But he was jerking the whole time, man.
Huh.
Oh, God, it's creepy, man. I didn't even think about it now.
Yeah.
There's only like 3 people other than you that seen
Can I videotape this?
Yeah. Yeah, we can shade some shit.
Wow. Yeah, put it down. Put it on the table over there. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's huge.
It is, dude. That's a pit bull. They say he's around 9 foot, and it takes a lot of pressure to put a track like that in the ground.
Oh man, I mean, what else? There's nothing else that could be. That's
Yeah. It's massive, dude.
that's one of the best prints I've seen in a long time.
I appreciate it. That's one like I said, I had to carry that sucker out like a baby.
Yeah, no kidding. This is a first generation. This came out of the ground.
Coming out of the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the original.
That's a good casting too. You did a good job casting it.
Yeah, it was hard, man. I'm telling you, it was hard.
Hey guys, I just wanted to show you this cool keychain that I just got back in stock. It's Bigfoot Yeti keychain. Everybody that loves cryptozoology, Bigfoot, Yeti, Grassman, Skunk Ape, you name it, definitely needs one of these. Back in stock, can't beat it. High quality, heavy duty, really cool. Like I said, everybody that loves these guys needs one, so get them while they're hot. Wow.
Both sides are flooded now. See, this is all natural. This is all trees, hardwoods, briars and stuff.
Yeah.
Look back to what I was saying, and here's part of that pipe. This is the pipe the thing was leaning on.
Oh, yeah.
It was laid up there in the woods, right back there where them white flowers are.
Yep.
But that's 88-inch pipe right there. There's some more of it. But to go down and check the mail, I had the dogs with me, and it's about 1/8 of a mile down the road to the mailbox. And me and the dogs, we took off walking, and all of a sudden I turned around, I got the mail, I started walking back up. Well, my horse is out there going nuts through the deep snow. I thought, what the heck is your deal? Go back to the barn, you know, you dummy. And he's jumping around and causing chaos. And
Wow.
I started walking up. Well, the trees narrow down before it turns into a curve and goes up to the house where the yard light's at. Well, he took off, and I thought I was getting closer to them woods, and the dogs weren't around. I couldn't figure out why. Well, then at that time, something come like charging through the woods. You could hear boom, 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 trees breaking and everything. We'll go this way. And I stopped, you know, because it got me scared. You know, I'm almost 9 years old.
Yeah.
Kind of freaking me out. I yelled. I said, Diamond. I said, knock it off. I said, you're scaring me. And just at that time, and I'm standing from here to that tree was our fence line, and behind me, about where that pipe is at, was the other side of the road coming into the yard. Something was right there. I couldn't see it. It was dark, and it just gave me this nervous, scary feeling. And I was like, Diamond, you know, because I thought it was a horse. It was just my mind thinking.
Yeah.
He's clear across the yard, kicking at the gate, neighing, trying to get to me. He jumped the fence. It's the first time and only time I've ever seen him jump a fence.
Really?
Came running to me. And then the instinct thought,
Wow.
it's time to fly.
Yeah.
I ran to the house as fast as I could. Diamond's out. He's running down there back and forth and stomping at the ground and kicking. And I've never seen him act like that before.
Yeah.
And I ran into the house and I grabbed my shotgun. Dad and my brother were asking me, "What are you doing? Where are you going with that gun?" I said, "There's something out here."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ran out the door. He says, "Hold on a minute, don't be shooting, I'm just gonna fire in the air," I said. And I took that shotgun, I went boom, and you could hear whatever it was. And Dad and Kenny were behind me then at that time, and I seen out of the corner of my eye, I'm like looking at the woods like this, and they're like right here, and I seen my brother go like that to Dad, and they both nodded their heads and shook, Yep. So they knew about it. They just didn't want
You to know about
me
it.
to know about it,
Right.
as young as I am,
Sure. Wow.
But
Hey everybody, Mike here. It's a little bit of an update. We had a very good encounter quest today. Thank you, Jessica, for putting that on. We decided to camp halfway in between Asheville and the event today. So we did that. We found a spot. Really, there's other squatchers here, which is awesome. They were out doing some stuff today, but unfortunately the campsite's not that great. The wind is just howling, so on top of that I got bit by a wasp or something about this big. I don't know what it was, and on the hand, so that's swelling up pretty nice, and my tent blew down and broke. So that's really nice. So I'm sleeping in my car tonight, which is absolutely perfect. Let me tell you, I could not want to sleep in my car any more than I do right now. But that's the nature of bigfooting, and that's kind of how it rolls sometimes. Sometimes your equipment fails, and if that happens, you got to make do with what you got to make do. Mike here, and I am excited to bring to you the Blue Ridge Mountains. We are hiking in the just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, in Bucombe County, and this is the spot we're going to come and do our night investigation. But I wanted to check it out during the day. There's been some reports from around here, so it's not out of the question that we're going to have activity tonight. So it's as you can see, that's the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's heavily trafficked during the day, but at night there's nothing. So we'll be lucky. We lucked out in that matter. And this place closes down after dark, so I'm going to be the only one out here. Welcome to Buncombe County, North Carolina. We are on National Park Service land, Blue Ridge National Park Service land, heading up to do a nice little night hike in an area where there's been reports. We are just literally outside city of Asheville limits. I'm already out of breath. We have movement. We are also on the outskirts of the Pisgah National Forest, which there have been countless sightings. It's very hard to do vocalizations this close to city limits, but I'm gonna try one. No, it's not even. It's very difficult to Bigfoot when you're this close to city limits and this close to a highway. There's no doubt that Bigfoot are through this area, but this isn't the place to go squatching, I found out. This is cool, guys. This has been on my bucket list for a long time. We're going to Max Patch, North Carolina, and that's a summit of a mountain up here, and it's supposedly really cool, so I'm going to take you up there now. We got some elevation to take on, though, as you can see. Here we go. This is Appalachian Trail Junction. Wow. Oh. Behind me, all around me, the Great Smoky Mountains. They get the name because of the blue tinge that they give off. Makes it appear like they're on fire most mornings. Today's no exception. We're at Max Patch, North Carolina, in the Pisgah National Forest, and we're doing a little loop hike here just so I could cross it off my bucket list. And let me tell you, this has been worth it so far. Whew, boy. Wow. This is spectacular. Phenomenal. And we go down. Oh, we get way down.